Okay, so we have everything, our front and rear suspension complete and hooked up. So now we need to take some steps to make it drive. And of course we need something to drive on, so let's add that real quick. So I'm going to add a mesh, a plane. I'm going to scale it up. So, I don't know, 100. So it's pretty big. I'm going to move it along the Y since we're mostly going to be going forward. And let's make this a rigid body. So rigid body, we're going to make it passive. We're going to make it a mesh. We're going to give it a friction value of 0.8 and a sensitivity of 0. Like that. Let's make sure we need to move it down a little bit so it doesn't start out or on top of the vehicle. So something like that. And now we need to make a couple more rigid bodies. We need to make our CG rigid body. So I'm going to make sure, or actually I'm going to select the ground, because we actually want that to be in the main collection. So move to collection, and we'll just do collection, like that. All right, now I'm going to make sure I'm in my rig collection, and I'm going to make a CG. So I'm going to do Shift-A, cube, scale this down, about right there, and I'm going to move it a little bit in front of the center of the two axles. And I'm going to move it down to about right there, maybe. So that's the location of the CG. I'm going to make it a rigid body. It's going to be active, of course. And we're going to give it a mass of 1,000 kilograms. And we don't really care about the rest of the settings. Alright, now we need another one for the body. So I'm going to scale this one way down. I'm going to move it up so I can see it easier. I'm going to make it a rigid body, active, and we'll just make it 10 kilograms, like that. And we need to make sure to name these. So let's do underscore body. And for this one, we want to do underscore CG. Okay. And now we need to connect these to our subframes. And to do that, we need our fixed constraint. So let's copy that from our other file right here. Come down and we'll take this file, or this object, this constraint, and copy to the clipboard, Control C, and then come back over here, over here, and we'll paste it. So Control V, and it's right there. So let's move it up to right there. We'll make another copy over here and make another copy on top. So let's connect all this up. So this constraint is going to connect our front subframe to the CG. So let's do that. Oh, we don't even have it set up as a constraint, but that's okay. So we'll do subframe to the CG. This one's going to connect our body, rigid body, to the CG. So connect CG to the body. And this one is going to connect our CG to our rear subframe, like that. All right, let's make sure that our settings are right, and they are sub-steps per frame. And let's see if this thing works. So I have it saved, make sure to save it, and let's press play. And something is happening, but not what we want. So let's look at this, and it is active. All these are active. Rigid body constraint. Looks like something is holding it up. Oh, I guess our subframes are still passive, so we need to make those active, don't we? So active, active. Control S to save it. Now it works, except I put my ground way too low. So let's move it up. It only needs to be a little bit low, like that. Okay, Control S. And now, hit the ground, so it looks like it's working. So now we need to tune our suspension, and to do that, we're gonna do our preloads here. So let's select our front subframe. Let's get our controller too. Let's scale it up some. We'll just apply our brake so it doesn't move a little bit. And let's start adjusting this. So our spring stiffness is 10,000, which is fine. Our, let's see, our damping factor is 0.1, that's fine. All right, so it's sitting way too high. So let's adjust that. That's too low. All right, maybe something like that. Although it looks like, okay, I don't think this thing's being active. So, all right, now it is. All right, now it looks like everything's moving. Let me pick my subframe. Sometimes when you make something from passive to active, it takes a few cycles for it to actually acknowledge that. So be careful with that. All right, so I'm gonna get my preload ready, and I'm gonna adjust it up to about right there. Actually, let's go ahead and parent our body modeled parts to our body, rigid body. So I'm gonna come into the outliner here. I'm gonna right click on body, and do select objects, and then shift select our body, rigid body, and do Control P. And this will allow us to tell if our ride height is correct. All right, now I'm gonna select the front subframe here in the outliner so I can adjust that. All right, so it's way too high. So let's lower our preload down to maybe something like that. And I'm gonna make the spring stiffness more like 25,000. Okay, so that looks good. Let me reset the simulation. We'll do the rear. Let's pick the rear subframe in the outliner here. And let's see where it is. So it's sitting way too high also. Let's lower it. Let's do something about right there. That looks pretty good. Yeah, that looks good. I think our front spring rate is still a little too low. So let's let's increase that. 40,000 maybe. Or maybe our damping's too high. Maybe 0.05. All right, it still seems to be moving rather slowly. Let's see what happens if we do 80,000. Yeah, maybe that's better. And we'll increase our rears. We'll just double our rear stiffness also. I'm gonna make this 20,000. There we go. All right, that looks pretty good.